I can't talk. Hello everyone, before I continue with the video, I just want to warn you that there's talks of abuse because Les Moonves, who used to be with CBS, he was actually a former media executive who served as chairman CEO of CBS. There will be talks of sexual abuse that he did, and there might be triggering and just the descriptions of abuse because it's the news Democracy Now! And so this is a reaction to a Democracy Now! Headline. So I just want to let you guys know that. So if you're underage or this is triggering to you, please just click away, just watch my other videos. And so that being said, you've been warned. Let's get to the video. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Mayor Chris, and for today's video we're going to try this Pro Fusion eyeshadow. Actually, my very good friend Andresa got me this and lipstick, but I'm sorry Andresa, if you're watching this, I don't know where it is. It's somewhere in this house. I promise I will find it, but I really have been wanting to try this out, and you can only get this, at least as far as I know, at Target. So I'm so excited to use this. And also this video will be reacting to Democracy Now! Because today is Monday and I can't wait to react to it. Due to some circumstances, I didn't work today, so I actually had a chance to film. So I'm like, okay, I did the things that I needed to do today. I'm gonna treat myself and I'm going to film. And I haven't watched the news today yet, so I'll do that while I'm trying this Pro Fusion. And I was going through my makeup and I'm like, there's so many items in there that I've forgotten or I didn't even know existed. So I'm gonna try them out and give them one last try, and then either I will declutter them, and I haven't really decided yet. But yeah, so far that's the premise of this video, and I hope you can join me. And as usual, I don't know if you guys have seen my previous reaction to Democracy Now! I will definitely link it down below, but after I watch it, I will do the reaction at the end because I like to pay attention and listen to what Amy Goodman is saying. And that's about it. I will link her video, their news channel, down below as well, of course. And without further ado, let's get to it. Oh, by the way, I will list all the products down below, and maybe I'll do like a little bit of why I haven't used them. I'm not sure yet. We'll both find out. I just don't want to put so much pressure on myself, like, oh, this video is gonna be this way, because this is just fun for me, and I just don't wanna take away the fun of having a YouTube channel. I just wanna go with the flow. So let's get to it. Oh my gosh, too much babbling.
From San Francisco, this is Democracy Now!
Today we're here in San Francisco, the largest anchor march for a rise for climate jobs and justice. Today we are here ahead of the Global Climate Action Summit to call on Governor Jerry Brown and elected officials at all levels to step up on climate action, phase out fossil fuels, and push for a just transition for 100% renewables.
And people march in San Francisco calling for climate justice ahead of California Governor Jerry Brown's Global Climate Action Summit.
So to Governor Brown, I would say this is your last chance. Make sure that when we're talking about fossil fuels, that there are no new permits that are going out for new drilling, because we know that the impacts that happen in our most vulnerable communities are a part of that process. So you have a responsibility. If you want to be a leader on climate, if you want to be a leader on the environment, then that means you have to be listening to the voices of our most vulnerable communities.
Voices from the Rise for Climate, Jobs, and Justice March, then to the fight over Supreme Court Justice nominee Brett Kavanaugh.
I find it impossible to reconcile what you're regularly being told, that your testimony that you received nothing stolen, had no reason to suspect anything was stolen, when, frankly, as we now know, Republican staffer Manny Miranda stole things. And some of the things he stole went directly to you.
Speak with former top aide to Senator Patrick Leahy, Lisa Graves. Her new piece in Slate is headlined, "I wrote some of the stolen memos that Brett Kavanaugh lied to the Senate about." She's now calling for Kavanaugh's impeachment as a federal judge. All that and more coming up. Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Activists held hundreds of protests Saturday in more than 90 countries as part of a worldwide day of action demanding urgent action to address climate change. In France, tens of thousands of people joined climate marches across the country. In northern India, about 10,000 students and teachers tied red ribbons to trees in an action to end deforestation. In the Philippines, nearly 1,000 people marched in Manila to protest the country's reliance on coal. In New York City, 10 activists were arrested protesting in front of Governor Andrew Cuomo's office to demand New York State transition to 100% renewable energy. In Thailand's capital, Bangkok, about 200 people protested outside the UN regional headquarters, including fishermen and laborers whose livelihoods are threatened by rising sea levels. In Australia, demonstrators demanded a halt to plans for a $16 billion coal mine in Queensland. And here in San Francisco, up to 30,000 people marched through the streets to demand urgent climate action. After headlines, we'll play voices from that protest in San Francisco. The Syrian government, backed by Russian airstrikes, is continuing its offensive in Idlib province, the last major rebel-held part of Syria. Residents and rescue workers say the Syrian government's been dropping barrel bombs on apartment buildings, killing civilians, including children. This is Hervé Roussel, a spokesperson for the World Food Programme.
The single greatest priority must be to end this brutal conflict. WFP appeals to all parties to protect civilians, respect humanitarian principles, and allow for the safe delivery of food to families in need, no matter where they are.
Former President Barack Obama has slammed President Trump, calling him a threat to democracy who capitalizes on politics of fear and resentment. President Obama's speech at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign was the kickoff to a 2-month campaign effort ahead of November's midterm elections. This is former President Obama speaking on Friday.
So Democrats aren't just running on good old ideas like a higher minimum wage. They're running on good new ideas, like Medicare for all, giving workers seats on corporate boards, reversing the most egregious corporate tax cuts to make sure college students graduate debt-free.
Sentenced to 14 days in prison for lying to the FBI about his contacts with Russians during the 2016 election. Papadopoulos is the first Trump advisor to be sentenced as part of a special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation into the Trump campaign's ties to Russia. Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren is calling for senior Trump administration officials to invoke the 25th Amendment to remove President Trump from office. This is Warren speaking on CNN.
If senior administration officials think that the President of the United States is not able to do his job, then they should invoke the 25th Amendment.
President Trump's national security advisor, John Bolton, is expected to announce today the United States will adopt an aggressive stance against the International Criminal Court, including threatening sanctions against the court if it tries to investigate alleged war crimes committed by U.S. troops in Afghanistan. In Bolton's speech today to the Federalist Society, he's also expected to announce the closure of the Washington, D.C. office of the Palestine Liberation Organization, the PLO, as retaliation for the Palestinians' efforts to bring alleged Israeli military war crimes to the International Criminal Court. Israeli soldiers shot and killed 2 Palestinian protesters and wounded more than 200 others in Gaza on Friday during the Palestinians' weekly demonstrations along the separation fence with Israel. The Palestinian Ministry of Health says the Israeli military has killed at least 179 Palestinians and wounded over 19,000 more since the Palestinians' nonviolent Great March of Return protests began on March 30th. The New York Times is reporting Trump administration officials held multiple secret meetings with rebel Venezuelan military officers last year to discuss plans to overthrow Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. The secret meetings about a possible coup included a Venezuelan military commander who's on a U.S. government sanctions list of corrupt Venezuelan officials. The Times reports the discussion stalled after Trump administration officials reportedly decided not to assist in a military coup in Venezuela. An Egyptian court has sentenced 75 members of the Muslim Brotherhood to death in a mass trial over the 2013 sit-in protests against the ouster of former President Mohamed Morsi. Amnesty International slammed the mass trial as a grotesque parody of justice. In Iraq, massive protests continue in the southern city of Basra, where protesters torched the Iranian consulate Friday. The demonstrations in the oil-rich region began after thousands of residents fell ill from contaminated water. Residents are demanding more jobs and better public services, including clean drinking water. Les Moonves, the longtime head of CBS, has resigned, only hours after The New Yorker magazine published an article detailing a slew of new sexual assault and sexual harassment allegations against him. In July, 6 women accused Moonves of sexual harassment in a New Yorker article. Then on Sunday, the magazine published a second article in which 6 more women accused Moonves of assault and harassment, including saying he forced them to perform oral sex on him, that he exposed himself to them without their consent, and that he retaliated against them professionally after they rejected his sexual advances. One woman, television executive Phyllis Golden Gottlieb, filed a police complaint against Moonves, accusing him of physically restraining her and forcing her to perform oral sex, and in a separate instance, physically throwing her against a wall. The New York Times reports Moonves could walk away with as much as $120 million in severance pay from CBS. The New York Times reports the CIA is expanding its drone operations in Africa, including expanding an air base deep in the Sahara. The widening CIA drone war in Africa comes after President Trump restored the CIA's powers to conduct covert drone operations, which had been curtailed under President Obama following widespread outrage about civilian casualties. The nationwide prison strike came to an end Sunday, following nearly 3 weeks of work stoppages, hunger strikes, sit-ins, and commissary boycotts in prisons from coast to coast. The nationwide demonstrations demanding better conditions, the right to vote, and the abolition of what prisoners call modern-day slavery ended on the 47th anniversary of the beginning of the Attica prison uprising in upstate New York. In Florida, a white Dallas police officer has been charged with manslaughter after shooting and killing a 26-year-old black man in his own apartment. The police officer, Amber Geiger, entered Botham Sherm John's apartment and opened fire, killing him. Police claim the officer believed it was her apartment. She simply walked into the wrong one. She was released from county jail on Sunday night on $300,000 bond. Investigators have taken a blood sample from the officer to test for drugs and alcohol. This is Botham Sherm John's friend, Jessica Berry.
Just knowing the way that he died, it seems unfair. because, think of the nicest person that you know and the most generous person that you know, and then they get shot as if they were a criminal or a thief. And it's just not fair.
In sports news, tennis superstar Serena Williams accused umpire Carlos Ramos of sexism during Saturday's U.S. Open final. The umpire harshly penalized Williams after she called him a thief and a liar, which Williams says is different than how male tennis players are treated by umpires. This is Serena Williams speaking at a press conference after the 2018 U.S. Open.
I can't sit here and say I wouldn't say he's a thief because I thought he took a game from me, but I've seen other men call other umpires several things, and I'm here fighting for women's rights and for women's equality and for all kinds of stuff. And for me to say thief and for him to take a game, it made me feel like it was a sexist remark. I mean, like, how he's never took a game from a man because they said thief. For me, it blows my mind.
In more sports news, NFL players continued to protest during the national anthem Sunday to call attention to police brutality and racism. Among the players to protest were Miami Dolphins wide receivers Kenny Stills and Albert Wilson, who knelt during the anthem, and Dolphins defensive end Robert Quinn, who raised his fist during the anthem. Colin Kaepernick, who first sparked the league-wide protest, tweeted his support for Stills and Wilson, writing, "My brothers continue to show their unwavering strength by fighting for the oppressed. They have not backed down, even when attacked and intimidated. Their courage will move the world forward. Love is at the root of our resistance," Colin Kaepernick tweeted. And scientist Jocelyn Bell Burnell has been awarded the Special Breakthrough Prize in Fundamental Physics 50 years after she made a historic astronomical discovery, only to have her male advisor take credit and receive a Nobel Prize for her work. The special award comes with $3 million in prize money, which Bell Burnell says she's donating to the UK's Institute of Physics. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman.
I'm back. I did my foundation. I actually use the Hourglass. This has been overlooked in my collection, although this is definitely one of my absolute favorite foundation. I use this moisturizer beforehand because A, it's been sitting there and I don't want it to be expired when I finally, okay. And I'm also using this Kiehl's Cream Decor moisturizer because I know that this can tend to be drying, this Hourglass Vanish sticks. So I do want to prep my skin. It's still something that I love and I still like the Hourglass. You just need to make sure that if you have dry skin like me, to prep your skin. And what else did I use after that? So just my beauty blender. And I couldn't find my other foundation that I actually set aside because I'm a mess. and I also completely forgot, so I just end up using this Healthy foundation. So that's the stuff I used so far. If I forget anything, I'll correct myself somewhere in this. Sure, I will. I'm sure I will. Anyways, so that's the prep, that's the skin. I just want to say that I'm so proud of those Filipino climate change activists and people who showed up and showing their voices. That's not a proper sentence. I'm really proud of those activists and the people who are saying to the world that, yeah, there's coal problem. I didn't even know, honestly, I didn't even know that Philippines is reliant on coal. And I made a video about this yesterday, that Philippines should get on the green bandwagon. Put more solar panels, use the wind. I know they have you can get power through currents. We have a lot of garbage. There's a lot of garbage that Philippines can burn and switch into energy. So I really hope Philippines will invest in that, and I'm glad also other parts of the world like Thailand were participating in the climate change action. Yes, that's like one of the most important, that is one of the most important, if not most important, pressing problems that our Earth, our planet, our species is dealing with right now. Because no matter what other problems are, if climate change is not addressed and not fixed, we're all doomed. Yes, renewable energy was I meant to say. Guys, I just want to warn you, I'm Filipino and English is my second language, so I'm practicing my English and I want to be better. I know I'm not the worst, but I definitely want to improve at speaking. Because sometimes I watch my video and I'm like, that's not what you meant to say. And so I trip over my words a lot in videos, and I actually was talking to my friend. It's like, I'm so much better at just talking in person. As soon as the video or I'm filming, I'm like, blah, and apparently I can't speak. But I want to practice, and I know even though I'm not good at it, and even though sometimes I don't want to upload the video because I'm not perfect, but it's okay. It's okay. I don't need to be perfect. Okay. I know this is probably an unpopular opinion, and that's okay. That's okay. We all have our opinions. But Barack Obama is such a hypocrite, okay? He's talking about, oh, the Democrats are running, with the platform of Medicare for all. Hello, that's what he said last time too when he was running for president, and nothing happened. Okay? He had Obamacare, that's fine, but it's not Medicare for all. And he did not push through enough and didn't really fight for it. And he could have, if he really wanted to, if he went and galvanized the public and really went out there and tried to convince, people who didn't agree with it that this is what we need. So it's not even Obama necessarily. It's the so-called left party. Like in the States, it's the Democrat, and in Canada, it's the Liberal Party. They say a lot of beautiful things that you're like, yeah, raising minimum wage and Medicare for all. Although in Canada we have Medicare for all and minimum wage is being raised. But when Trudeau, for example, was running, he was like, yes, I'm all for environment. We're gonna make sure, we take care of Mother Earth and so on and so forth. And same thing with Obama when it's like, oh, a hope, and I'm gonna close Guantanamo, and he didn't close Guantanamo. Their promises are either broken or whatever legislative measure that they promised to pursue and they promised to pass, it is barely, like, the result is not what it really was meant to be. So it's frustrating, right? And I was that person who really fell in love with Obama, like, oh my gosh, and then disheartened when you find out, like, okay, change comes from the bottom up. Change comes from with us, and we, the people, need to pressure these politicians to do the right thing, because otherwise they get into office and the president or the prime minister gets replaced. But you have to remember, there's lobbyists that are there who know how to slither their way into Congress. So we need to have our own lobbyists as well. People need to have our own lobbyists. and there's old guards that are still in there who will inform them of what's going on and can say, hey, you know what, that's what you promised, but so on and so forth and so on. And let's remember that he is friends with Wall Street as well. It's so easy for Obama to say that, but when he was in power, he bailed out all the banks. Anyways, that's a tangent. I don't want to go on a tangent, but basically my point is, just don't expect that these politicians are going to do what they say they're going to do, because we the people need to pressure them to do the right thing and what they promised. Otherwise, that's what happened with Obama. I think also everyone just became complacent. And yeah, anyways, that's just my 2 cents on that part of the headline. Wow, so Les Moonves can walk away with $120 million in severance package. What? That's nuts. That's nuts. That's all sorts of wrong. It's basically, okay. So frustrating. So frustrating. Really curious of how much more police brutality can a population take before they just go out there and just protest nonstop? Like, this has got to stop. I just want to say that Jocelyn Bell Burnell is such a hero, and the fact that after winning being awarded $3 million, and she's going to donate that all to the scientific cause is just amazing. Hello everyone, I'm back. That was my reaction. I got carried away. I ended up putting all of my makeup on already because my friend FaceTimed me, and we haven't spoke in a while, and a really good friend of mine, hi Jude if you're watching this, so we're just like chatted along, and I just use the palettes. Oh, this Proficient palette, I don't know what happened to the, hold on, let me see if I can find it. I used the eyeliner. I started using it, but I don't really like this applicator. I don't know if you can see, it's very fat and it's not as flexible, and it's very thick line. So where's my, anyways, it doesn't matter. So I end up using my, where's that tattoo? Here. I really like this Kat Von D tattoo. Do you see how much more flexible that is? And the ease of just making a line is so much easier. But this dries up so quickly for me, so I'm trying to see if I can find another one. Let me just do a side by side. Do you guys see the difference of that, how thick that Profusion one versus the Kat Von D one? So, but anyways, I still used it. I'm not a big fan. And what else was the other one? I used the eye primer, which was pretty decent, but I think it made, I don't know if it's the shadow, or it's the primer, but this particular shadow that I used was very patchy. But the black one was pretty decent, I must say. And I really like the shimmers as well, but I think it's so glittery. I think glittery, and I think a glitter went in my eye and it was so itchy and I can't scratch it, so I was just like in pain almost. But anyways, that's about it. I'm just gonna wrap it up now. And yes, that's that's my reaction. Again, got carried away. My friend called and I'm like, yeah, blah blah blah, chatting our life away. So anyways, I hope you guys like this video, and if you do, consider subscribing, and if you decide to subscribe, you might want to put on the notification bell so you know when I upload next. And what else was I gonna say? Yeah, like it if you like this video. Comment down below your thoughts on the headlines of today's Democracy Now! News. And what else did I want to say? Yeah, and if you found this video useful, helpful, or entertaining, or informative, be sure to subscribe it. Be sure to... I can't talk. Be sure to share it, okay? I'm not even gonna edit that out because it's just, I need to learn. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, night, wherever you are, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys!